Okay, so making the bralette or the bikini top or whatever is really easy. You just need to know how to do half double crochet and double crochet. So to make our cup, and I'm going to show you how to adjust it for your size. To make the cup, you're going to start with a slip knot, and that's just wrapping around, pulling the working yarn through the loop, and then pulling the small tail, attaching. To start off, you are going to chain 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oops, and 11. This is going to be the foundation chain of the cup, and we are going to have to do increases to actually make it bigger. So once you chain 11, put your finger on that last chain you made to the 11th chain, chain 2. This is your turning chain, and you're going to wrap the you're going to prepare for a half double crochet. So you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook, go into the 3rd chain from your hook, so that chain that you have your thumb on, and put 1 half double crochet. And then you're going to put 1 half double crochet into each chain until you reach the last one. So I just did 10, and I have 1 chain left. This is the very last chain. Let me zoom in a little. Oops. Okay, there we go. This is the very last chain that we have. We are going to put 3 half double crochet into that chain. So here's 1. Oops. 1. Into the same chain we just worked in. Here's another one. 2. And then you're going to hold off on that, and then you're going to grab something like an earring, or if you have it, a stitch marker, to mark this 2nd half double crochet, because every time we work in the round, you are going to keep working into that chain. And that probably sounds a little confusing, but I will show you what I mean once we get to row 2. So just give me, row 3. Just give me 1 second to get my stitch marker. I'm going to take a stitch marker, and in that 2nd half double crochet that I did, I'm going to mark that stitch. It's very important that you do that. It's very important that you do that. And if you don't mark it, you just have to remember where it is. I have it marked. And that's not the 1st half double crochet we did into that chain, it's the 2nd one. And then we are going to put our 3rd and final half double crochet into that same stitch. So into our very last chain, after we worked 10 double crochets down from the beginning, you should have 3. And now we are going to be working across the foundation chain. So we have already worked into this very first, these are your foundation chains. These are the spaces directly under your first row of half double crochet. So you're going to be placing, let me just take this out to show you, half double crochets into this space, this space, this space, this space. Hopefully you can see. It's literally the spaces right under. Here's your half double crochet here, and then the space directly under it. So this part is really important that you pay attention, because we already have 3 half double crochets worked into our first foundation chain. So we're not going to work into this very first space here. We're going to yarn over, skip that first space, and work a half double crochet into the next space. And then you're going to work 1 half double crochet into each space around, going to the bottom. Let me get a little bit closer. And yeah, sorry if that went out of frame, and my couch is making noises. So because we had a chain 2 at the beginning of our row, this is the chain space right here. This looks like the last one, but because we had a chain 2 at the beginning of the row, you're going to put 1 half double crochet into this chain space here, and then you're going to find your chain 2 from the beginning of that row, which will be right here. You're going to put a half double crochet into that chain space. So if you see this little space right here, you can put it there. So just find your chain 2 and then put your last half double crochet into that chain space. And it may look a little weird, but trust me, on our next row it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, and let's move on to row 3. Make sure you count your rows. It is really important that you count your rows, because this will determine how many rows to do for your second cup. So at the beginning of each row, we are going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to turn our work, and we are going to skip this first stitch. So we're not going to put our half double crochet into this first stitch, we're going to put it into the second stitch, and we're going to put 1 half double crochet into that second stitch, because our chain 2 counts as our first half double crochet. And then you're going to put 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way down until you reach the stitch that is marked by your stitch marker. So I'm in the last stitch before this one, and what you're going to do is, I usually keep the stitch marker in, you can take it out. You are going to work 3 half double crochet into this stitch marked by the stitch marker. So I'm going to take it out and do 1 into that same stitch, 2, and before you move on to your third one, you're going to attach your stitch marker into that second double crochet that you half double crochet that you made in that stitch, and then proceed to make your third one in that exact same stitch. And then, like last time, you are going to put 1 half double crochet all the way down the row. We're on row 2 because our foundation row does not count as row 1. So in every stitch, oops, and then our last stitch here. Ooh. Maybe a little hard to get because, you know, it can be like that. But yeah, this is what it's looking like so far. So at this row, we're just gonna chain 2. This is gonna count as our first double crochet, half double crochet. Turn your work. You are going to skip this first stitch, and you are going to work into the second stitch and put 1 half double crochet in there. And look, your bottom edge will still remain straight. And then 1 half double crochet into each stitch until you reach your stitch marker. So now we are in the stitch with our stitch marker. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out and work 3 half double crochet into that stitch. 1, and on that second half double crochet, I'm going to attach my stitch marker back into it. So that's just all I do. And then put my third and final half double crochet. And now you're going to put 1 half double crochet into each stitch around until you get to the bottom. And then for this round, there's something special that we have to do for the bottom because we used a chain 2 as our stitch, as our first half double crochet. And I'm on my what appears to be my last stitch, but because we use this chain 2 as our first stitch, you have to put a half double crochet into the top of that chain 2. So yarn over and then go right into the top of it and put that. And this is what it's looking like. If you can see, it's starting to form a cup more and more, and it's starting to puff up at the top. That's exactly what you want. And then we have our straight edge at the bottom. And this is when I say that it's going to be customizable for your size. So chain 2, turn your work. You are literally just going to keep growing this more and more and measuring it up against your breast until it reaches the size that you need it to be. So chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to skip that first stitch and work into the second one. And you're going to work all the way down until you reach we reach our stitch marker. Now we are at the stitch where our stitch marker is located. We're going to take it out, put 1, and remember we're putting 3 half double crochet in here. Give me 1 second. Yarn split. Okay, we're putting 3 half double crochet in here, so here's 1. And on our second one, we are going to be attaching our stitch marker back. So, and then connecting it to that stitch like that, and then put our third and final stitch in there. And then 1 stitch in each 1 half double crochet in each stitch all the way down until we reach our last stitch. And I will show you what to do again with that chain 2 that you used at the beginning of each row. And here you go. And here is our supposedly our last stitch. And then remember that because we used a chain 2 at the beginning of each row, you have to put 1 half double crochet into there. Sorry if it's a little washed out. The top of the chain 2. And there you go. And see, now we have a little baby cup. This is what it's looking like. And you are literally going to keep doing that process back and forth until it's the height that you need it to be. And remember, for each one to count your rows. The process is always the same no matter what you do. We can switch to a taller stitch, like a half double crochet, to make the process go faster. So it's instead of chaining 2 at the beginning of each row, you are going to now chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Turn your work, and just like before, skip that first stitch, and instead of a half double crochet, we're going to use a double crochet. So double crochet into the second stitch, and I probably didn't show you, but a double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook through the stitch, pull up some yarn, so wrap the yarn around the hook, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to do that all the way until you reach your stitch marker. And remember, the chain 3 at the beginning of each row is a chain 3 now. We counts as our first double crochet. Let me slow that down. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then, sorry, the way I'm recording, I have to remember to adjust myself because I can't really see the camera. But I'm trying to keep that in mind, that I keep either moving too far back or because I don't want to rest my arm on the table because it shakes the table. So awesome. Okay. Okay. Gotta get comfy. So we are at the stitch with our stitch marker. Just go ahead and take it out. And just put, like before, except for you're using double crochet, put 3 double crochet into that stitch. So there's 1. Oh, I keep splitting my yarn. So there we go. Here's 1. And on the second one, you are going to attach your stitch marker back. There we go. And then put your third and final stitch in there. And then 1 half double crochet until you get all the way to the bottom. I mean half double, 1 double crochet until you get all the way to the bottom. To keep all of that going, you're just going to chain 3 at the beginning of each row instead of chaining 2. So chain 3, turn your work, and you're always going to skip that first stitch because our chain 3 counts as our first stitch, and put 1 double crochet into each stitch around until you reach your stitch marker, where you will put 3 double crochet into that same stitch, while you in that second one you're going to place your stitch marker. And here we are at our stitch marker. We're going to take it out and then do the pattern. So here's 1 in that same stitch 2, putting our stitch marker back on that second stitch like so, and then putting our last one in that same stitch, and then 1 double crochet into each stitch around. So right now we are at 7 rows total. So the whole cup is 7 rows total. And remember, we have to put our last stitch into the chain 3. And then we see our chain 3 here. Go ahead and put your double crochet into the top of that chain 3. All right, and you see our edge is still very straight. That's exactly what you want. If your top was like the bottom was curling at all, then that's definitely not what you want. But as you're gonna keep going, I just squished it down. You should have this triangle shape. Yeah, you should have this triangle shape. This is 7 rows. Hold it up to yourself without a bra on to see how big it is, and then if you feel like you need more rows, add more. If you feel like what you have now is perfect, then you're done. And then to literally once you get it the size that you want it, all you have to do is chain up 1, cut your work. I just break mine like this and fasten off. And let's go ahead and make the second one. The second one, you're going to do the exact same process as making this first one. So for me, I'm gonna have to do 5 rows of half, for me, I'm gonna have to do 5 rows of half double crochet and 2 rows of double crochet to make mine. And then we will make the design and then the little crisscross that goes in the front, which all is very, very, very easy. So go ahead and pause this, make your second cup, and then come back when you are done.